Hello, my beautiful friends. So, continuing with the Samhain series, this message is about whether Christians should or should not celebrate Halloween. So, as we know, because we've already talked about this, and you can find this everywhere in the planet, Halloween stems from pre-Christian, pagan celebrations of the Day of the Dead, the Festival of the Dead, which Celtic festivals lasted more than one day, from sunset to sunset. And so we know that history. So we know that what we do in at least the U.S. stems from those Celtic traditions. Trick-or-treating, carving pumpkins, all of those things. We've talked about that. So there's a huge debate in the Christian faith about whether or not Christians should celebrate Halloween. And I have very many conservative Christian friends who do not celebrate Halloween. And then I have other friends that do. And so I guess the first thing is to decide whether or not you think Halloween is a secular, just fun day in American culture, or whether you're tying it to a religious or spiritual practice, right? So I look at Samhain as a spiritual practice, and I do also celebrate All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day as a Christian. So those two Christian holidays were created. One of the popes said, he figured it wasn't going to work if he tried to, squash the Celtic people. So he said to the missionaries, well, just use whatever they have. If they're honoring a tree, figure out a way to include that into the Christian, dedicated to Christ, and make it Christian in some way. So that's what the missionaries did, right? So All Saints' Day, which is a day for the saints, like Saint, Archangel Michael, and, Saint Teresa, and Saint Bridget, right? So it's a day to honor all of the saints, but especially those saints which don't have their own dedicated day. So obviously Saint Bridget, Saint Columbkille, Saint Patrick, they have their own dedicated days. Saint Thomas of Aquinas, right? They all have their own dedicated days. But if you are Roman Catholic or Anglican, I'm not sure if other denominations celebrate saints, but there are a lot of saints, right? And not all of them have their own day. So it was a day to celebrate all of the saints. Well, that didn't really resonate with the Celtic people, because Samhain, celebrates and honors all of the dead, especially your family and your ancestors. So then the church said, okay, well then the next day we'll do All Souls' Day, which is everybody, all the faithful. All the faithful departed will have a day to remember all those. And if you go to a Catholic church or a conservative Anglican church, there's the reading of the names of all those who have departed. So the goal of that was to get rid of the Celtic honoring of Samhain, and we see how that worked out. It didn't. So now we have all three. So if you're a Christian spiritualist, Celtic spiritualist, you might celebrate all three. So can you? Sure. You're a grown adult. You can do whatever you want. Should you? That's really up to you. So I think one of the reasons, like when I talk to my friends who don't celebrate Halloween, it's because they don't want to honor the pagan traditions. Fair enough. That's their choice. They can choose that. But also for those who aren't quite that religious, but are like, listen, Halloween really celebrates evil. And when you look at our culture and horror and our propensity for, horror and things like that, I can kind of see that, because even when my boys were little, I didn't let them dress up as evil characters, or, because I feel like there's enough evil in this world. They don't need to bring in more. So we have a very big fascination with the skulls and the skeletons and the stereotypical witches and the monsters and all that kind of stuff. And most people will say, well, it's just fun, right? But again, I don't see a whole lot of light and love in that, because without the rest of the story of, well, we dress that way so that the spirits can get confused and they wouldn't take souls away, right? If we don't have that other piece to it, then it's just glorifying negativity, and I'm very hesitant to do that. So, I think how you celebrate Halloween is very individual, right? You may not have a problem with it, with the celebrating of evil. Maybe you like horror story. My kids make me watch horror movies all the time. I hate them. But it's really like what you want, what energy you want. So I don't think there's any judgment on either side, right? Like if you are into, if your intersecular Halloween, I don't think there's any judgment there. It's really just a personal choice. So for me, because Samhain is a very precious time of year, it's a very solemn time of year. It's a time for me to connect with my ancestors and to venerate my ancestors, and that veil is thin. So I like to use that time in reflection and preparing for the next season as we move toward Alban Arthan or Yule or Christmas or whatever. So to me, it's much more of a spiritual holiday. And I have, we carve things, we have them on the porch, we do give out trick-or-treat candy. We try to be a house that, is popular, so we give out good candy and whiskey to the adults. And, so we do honor those sort of pre-Christian pagan, those, traditions, right? We do all the things. So I think it really is up to you and your path and what you believe, right? And I don't think others should tell you how to walk that path. That is a conversation between you and whatever higher power you believe in, with your spirit guides, with your archangels, with your gods, if you have more than one. That's a conversation that you have to have with them, and then you have to do what resonates for you on your path, right? My path may not be, the path that you want to take, and that's okay. And trunk or treats are logistically good. Like when I lived in the South, there weren't houses next door to each other, so trick or treating would have been kind of impossible. So trunk or treat made a lot of sense because everybody went to one place, and that's where you got candy. But also trunk or treats happen at places where kids are, like a candy festival or a candy fair or something like that. Some of my friends who are more conservative churches do that, so that the kids have the experience of having candy and being able to dress up and have that sort of fun time without honoring evil spirits or whatever. So again, it's really just what resonates with you, and I think it's okay if nobody's ever told you this. If you're from a religious practice and have gone into a pagan practice, you might have heard resistance from every side, but it's really your path that you walk on, that you connect with your spirit guides. That is what should guide you. And so if you're Christian and you want to celebrate Halloween, you're a grown adult, you can. And if you are not Christian and it doesn't matter, that's cool too, right? A lot of room in this world for love. So, I am wishing you all the very best in light and love. Be well. Have light on your path. Take care.